Good morning. How are you?
Good.
It's wonderful. I only just got the album, so it's like really, really fresh
I see.
in the ears, and it's still having a big influence. It sounds wonderful. First play.
Yeah, it was an easy production. Everything was very organic and without any struggles. The songs were just there. I mean, they wrote so many songs. I mean, that's the best way of describing it is it just kind of naturally fell into place. It was not really hard. It was
Mm.
the creativity, the creative energy of the guys was amazing. And we easily wrote two records, you know. We have enough material for another one. A
Oh,
lot to choose
fantastic.
from.
That's great to hear. It's in the press release. It says the exact words: the reunited, expanded classic lineup.
I don't
What's
know. I don't look at any of that. I don't look at any of the. I haven't even heard the final mix.
Oh, really? So
Yeah, I
I'm
have.
ahead of
You
you.
know more than I do.
Oh.
I still confuse the titles and stuff like that. You know, the last time that I was dealing with the songs was the video shoots we did, and when I did the vocals in
Yeah.
Tenerife.
Well, we've had some wonderful singles so far. The album sounds brilliant. I mean, I love the self-titled album that came out a few years back, 2021. So it's been a bit of a wait, plenty of anticipation for this one. But I guess the big news this year is the anniversary, the 40 years, and the
Yeah.
huge tour that's going to happen. I guess going into 2026 as well.
Oh, yeah, I think probably even beyond that. We took like 2 years off where we did not play any. Okay, we started last year working on the album, but we did not play any live shows. So it's a long time, 2 years. You know, some people announce this when they do something. We just did it, and I like it. That's a little too long, I must admit.
Yeah.
Year is great, but it's like this year, I don't know. I need to do something again. You know.
Yeah, champing at the bit. What's your favorite bit of being on the road? I mean, I know it's going to be a long tour. What do you most love apart from the
It's
um
like when the band is goofing around, when we're like hanging in the gates, like maybe in the launch or whatever, and fooling around. The traveling, you know, having fun. The traveling is great. Being able to see various countries on the planet, that's
yeah.
pretty amazing. It's good for your soul. And I've been doing that very early on. I was still a teenager when I started doing that. And then I had a long break, of course, but no, I mean, it becomes more and more stressful to travel because the world is just security, 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 check, 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 security. It has become a nightmare. I mean, I hate that part, but once you're in the countries, it's always exciting to see other cultures and
Mm.
meeting people in all the countries of the world where we're playing. You know, the traveling, um, and getting to all those countries. I think that's the best part of it. Meeting people from all over the world.
I think the thing that I'm most like about this album and its predecessor is the fact that it's not often you get a band 40 years into their life, I guess, that is producing music that I think's as good as you've ever
Uh,
done.
This is one of the things that I've mentioned in some of the interviews that I've done too, that I'm really excited about the fact. I mean, every band loves to be relevant and stay relevant, but it's not easy to keep it up because you can't fool the creative energy. It is there or it isn't. You know what I mean? It's like
Mm.
a lot of bands when they've been around, they don't have that much to say musically that it lasts like an entire life. I would really have to think about a band where I think that's the case. But it's like most of the bands that I grew up with, and of course I'm not going to name any of those. You know, I respect them and all that, but they bore me to death for a number of years, doing the same shit all over again, and not having the slightest
Yeah.
excitement, obviously, in terms of being creative. It's just a rewriting of the same stuff, just worse. You know what I mean? Just
Pretty much, yeah.
I wouldn't even say why making an album? Just tour. You know what I mean? Forget about it. I mean, what's the point? I don't know. Maybe it's contracts or whatever. But I was really excited. Uh, um, about all the songs that came out. And I had a situation last year in the summer when I was doing a track for Avantasia.
Yeah, that was great. I love that.
And I loved the song. I was really excited. Toby just knows how to write, even in the Halloween type of vein when he wants to. He's really good at that. And I really enjoyed the song. And I thought, wow, what a great track. And by that time, there was maybe one or two songs there, and they didn't kick me that much from
Mm,
us, from ourselves. I was kind of frustrated. I was like saying, well, maybe Toby should write songs for us or whatever. But then the next couple of weeks, there was more and more material coming, and I was feeling better and better and better because the shit was good, and it was able to hold up with what Toby was doing. But you can't fool yourself. You
mm,
either it is what it is or it isn't. You can try to lie to yourself, you know. You can manipulate yourself with thoughts, but if your heart doesn't believe it, it's not going to work. Deep down inside, you will just be disappointed. But I wasn't. The material that came up was great, and it's great to see that it helps that we have six potential songwriters. Of course, I mean most bands don't have that many people who that can write songs. That's certainly a benefit. But I think it's also the dynamic of the band. We have seven very different individuals. I mean, we couldn't be less alike. Of
mm.
course, there are meeting points, otherwise we couldn't do that. But we're extremely different personalities, and also quite intense, which is not always easy, but it is exciting and it creates energy. It creates a productive dynamic because I mean, at least this is how I explain it to myself. It's like when you have seven people who are exactly the same, they rather bore each other to death because there's nothing coming that you haven't had in your own head anyway before. But if everybody's very different and has a completely different look at it and approach, it's much more exciting
Mm.
because you're always surprised about, and I
Mm.
have that all the time, that I'm surprised about how Kai things or how Waiki things, and you know what I mean? It's
And
like,
I think for me the interesting thing is you can see that dynamic in a band who are younger, let's say, could be an issue, but
mm,
the older we
yeah.
get, hopefully the more
Oh, it's a good point.
reasonable
Yeah,
we
yeah, yeah,
get,
yeah.
the more open we get to other
Yeah.
opinions. So
You grow
you can.
older. It's not that much ego. I mean, you still have your ego, but there's also a bit of a personality that grew out of that ego. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Personality is not ego. It's not the same thing. When you have a weak personality, they usually have this very destructive ego. But when you have a strong personality, you can be selfless even. You don't feel offended by another strong individual. You actually appreciate it, and you're excited about it, and you're happy that other person is there. I mean, you can have that at a young age already. It's not necessarily always an age thing, but if usually when you get older,
Yeah,
you learn, and you
it's an
have different,
experience thing,
you
isn't it?
evaluate things differently. You have had your experiences. You are unexperienced when you're younger. I mean, that's why you come into this life, okay, to learn something, to grow, and if you are willing to, and if you care for learning, and you will. I mean, you can find old guys who are just as stupid as they were as teenagers.
Stupid,
I
I
mean,
think.
this
Yeah.
happens. Then they're just old assholes, But it doesn't have to be like that. And everybody in this band is very positive, constructive, and is trying. And this is the best part of this band is that this positive kind of spirit, and that we give each other credit. If one member has a bad day, it's not going to break the band. You know what I mean? It's something you just okay, he has a bad day, and then but you know the person, you know he doesn't mean bad. He just has a bad day. So you just don't take it personal. You let it
I,
go through yourself, and then next day it's fine again.
I think what Halloween has, the world probably needs at the minute, is that sort of acceptance of difference and that positive attitude that we certainly need some of over
Oh
here.
yeah. And I'm,
Definitely.
I'm glad that the band, I mean, we did not make any kind of pre-plan.
Mm.
we didn't develop any kind of pre-plan how the album was supposed to be, or what the lyrics are going to be. But in the end, when everything was coming together, and we had the first interview sessions, like in Holland, we did we invited journalists and did an old school kind of listening session, and then after that we had lots of interviews and stuff, and they asked us these questions about how the lyrics seem to be in a, like, almost like having a red line. It's like there's always this kind of spiritual approach, but it's not negative, it's kind of, and it was not intentional. It's just how everybody is right now. It's like probably a reaction to the insanity of the world. You need to adjust to it. Is that the more nuts the outside world gets, the more you are naturally kind of searching for an anchor in yourself. You gotta strengthen your personality to be able to deal with this stuff. If you drown in the insanity of our time, you just lose your mind, and maybe that's why everybody has this tendency, and it kind of natural fell into place with this album. It's,
Yeah.
it's
I,
very
I,
organic.
I think you're absolutely right. And I think for a lot of people, music is that anchor. So
Yeah.
it's wonderful to get an album like this. I mean, I'll just turn off the news, put a CD on, or put the vinyl on.
Yeah,
Just
but isn't it also telling us how important it is that music is honest,
yeah.
that music has to be from the heart? You know what
Mm.
I mean? It's like it's one of those things that gets more and more just a cliche. People talk about these things, but they don't really live it. It's like that's a whole business thing. This whole thing of you have so many people become musicians just for the sake of making quick money these days. It's like I wanted him. It was excitement for music. Why I wanted to make music. That was it. I was excited about particular specific bands, and that's what I want to do.
Mm.
And this is how it normally is. And it's great to make money, and you got it to a certain extent, but you should never sell your soul. So you need, again, some kind of a spiritual backbone so
Yeah.
that you don't so easily sell your soul. But it's like, honestly, and I've been thinking about these things my entire life, especially when I got out of the band. I was dealing with these things a lot. If you don't write, if you don't express an honest emotion, whatever it is, if that's not coming from the heart, what you sing about, what you write about, you lie to people. You know what I mean? It's a lie. And it has a negative effect on society. If what we consume, if we consume lies, it makes us sick. It makes us weak. If we consume some light, some truth, some honesty, doesn't even have to be very blown up, just the human honesty. Or we have this word authentic,
Mm.
like not wearing a mask, but just being real. This is healthy for humanity, and we're living in such a lie time. Everything is just lies, and now we have this AI thing where you can't even believe a video or photo anymore. Everything is just lies, and it's like if people not turn their attention and their focus on truth, on honesty, on values again, they're gonna go nuts. They're gonna
Mm.
lose their soul. So you see that everywhere.
I think you're right. I mean, the older I get, the less news I consume. It just depresses me. And AI, don't get me started on AI. AI is just the end of the world as far as I can see.
I'm sure we will adjust to it. I mean, when new things come out like that, and I know it's very new, but it always is.
But it's
Uh,
it's robbing
it
us of
gets
art, Michael. That's what
it
gets
gets very.
me.
That's the thing. That's the thing. But I'm telling you, I'm sure you will have two sides of the thing. You will have two streams when it comes to. I mean, yesterday I was watching a video of Spotify, who actually had like 1 million streams from a band that doesn't even exist. They
Yes,
created
I
this
saw
band
that.
with AI. The whole music was AI created. Sounded fantastic. I mean, I would have believed it's real. Like, and when they got to a certain number of streams, that's when people begin to ask questions. Who are they? And they don't exist. There's no bio. They don't play live. And Spotify was lying before, saying, "Oh, of course, it's a real band, blah blah blah." But when it got too intense, they admitted it's an AI band. So it's not only that they're not paying musicians and just screw them and give their work to the people for free or for the money that they take. Now they get rid of musicians. You know what I mean? So they create fake AI musicians. But I'm telling you, of course, probably the vast majority of people will go for it. They don't give a fuck. If they like a song, they don't even care if it's a human being or a computer making it. But you will also have the other reaction, the
Yeah.
people
I,
who don't
I
want to do that anymore.
I think the vast majority of people just like to be lazy or as lazy as they
Yeah.
can be. And I think
Yeah.
that's a lot of to do with the acceptance as well. But
Yeah. That's true.
yeah. And of course, AI will get to the stage where it fools us. Then there may well be a someone out there creating a version of you
Yeah.
to
Oh,
guess
of
the
course,
name.
that's all easy. And it's a very interesting time.
It is. Yeah.
People, another thing, when you talk spiritual about it, you know what the real danger about it is? If you give up your mental and your creative productivity and you give it to the computer, you get stupid.
Yeah.
You degenerate. You degenerate in your spirit, you degenerate in your soul. If you're not active, if you're passive and you let the computer do all that, you become degenerated.
But surely that's the plan.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so as well. Let's talk about the album. It's wonderful. Starts off beautifully with Giants on the Run. What a great opener.
Oh yeah, I was a different. If it was a different one, it was a different one before. But the two
Yeah.
producers suggested that one. I don't even have the song in my ear at the moment.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't sing on it, did I?
No, doesn't
See,
sound like you anyway. Could be an AI
yeah,
version.
I think it's. I think not yet.
So you must remember the ones that you sing on anyway.
Yeah, yeah, I remember them all, but I gotta hear it. I just
What
have
what
problems with it.
what was the first song that you heard from the album? Where did it all begin?
I think it was one from Marcus, but it didn't end up on the album. And I also it was Universe from Sasha. It was
Yeah,
he had that pretty much done on demo, and I was laying vocals on it quite early on. But that wasn't a big surprise, that song, because that song is like a classic. It's almost like a Halloween song out of the school book. It's like all the elements that you. Not that this is not a good song, but it wasn't really a surprise. I was more surprised about Monsters from Kai, for instance. That
yeah.
sounds a bit different. I like to be surprised when it comes to the songwriting.
Yeah. I think it's always good to have a bit of variety in there as well. But
Yeah.
as I said before, I think you're probably as good as I've ever heard Halloween sound, and it's been many years since I've seen you live. So when I tell people I'm talking to Michael today, by the way, our last video was one of our like most watched of the year. So I'm hoping people are going to love this one as well. It was they asked me two things. One of the things I asked you last time, which I was going to ask you again, is what are you
Coming
reading?
to Australia.
Well, no, that's the next one. I was going to soften it
Yeah.
up with what are you reading at the minute? You recommended an interesting book to me last time.
I'm always with studying anthroposophy. This is what I'm always at that because it's just never ending. You just grow into it. You just grow your organs by working with, and you understand it deeper and deeper and different layers of it. Anything spiritual is not like an intellectual learning.
Mm.
Anything spiritual, the intellect reflects. And this is why it is so naturally materialistic. The intellect, if it stays the way it has been so far, it only understands what is dead, like mathematics, um, chemicals, technology, everything you can grab in an abstract way with numbers. We say in Germany, anything you can measure, weight, and count. That's the intellect. And it makes sense that it's that you reflect about something because it reflects the outside world, and that makes it so materialistic. And it has to do with the moon. The moon reflects the light of the sun. So at nighttime, it seems like it has light, but that's a lie. And the same with the intellect. The intellect believes to be wise and understand the world, but it doesn't. Spirituality is a different story. It can transform the intellect to a tool. And that's when you deal with anthroposophy. This is something completely new and completely different. It is science based in terms of its logic, but it's not materialistic. So it uses the intelligence and the logic and the principle of science, but not just in a materialistic way. It also deals with spiritual stuff in a scientific way. And I never stopped studying that because I continuously gain things out of it. Um, Apart from that, I'm I am I'm always reading other things in between, but the main thing I gotta read now is a book about. I'm making my driver's license now. I don't have one. I never needed one, but I moved outside of the country and I need a car now, and I'm pretty much done. I'm getting prepared for the final test, not the practical test. That one, not
Yeah.
the theory is all
Yeah.
done. So I gotta read that. Yeah, I gotta get all that. I mean, we're living in Germany here. So here we probably have the most difficult driving tests you can find on the planet because that's just the way we are.
Yeah, I remember when I came to Australia, my driving test consisted of getting stuck on Sydney Harbour Bridge for half an hour, and that was about it. So,
It used to be easier like 30 years ago over here too. It's like when I talk to people, friends that I know that have the driver's license for like 30, 40 years, they just can't believe. You need to learn about 1,000 questions that
nice.
they may choose from. It's ridiculous. I mean, we're a little nuts. Germany is a little nuts when it comes to law and regulations,
You
and
like you like lots of it. I know that.
I
So
hate it.
the more the
But it's
merrier.
like, again, it's a spiritual thing. The less you are spiritually alive, the more you feel safe with laws. The more you feel safe that you are guided by the government or religion. You know what I mean? It's like this
Yeah,
outside
absolutely.
laws that tell you what to do. This is always necessary when you get empty inside.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's plenty of governments who are pretty empty inside at the moment. You
Oh yeah.
mentioned before the wonderful contribution you made to Here Be Dragons, which I loved. It's a great album, fantastic. But you
Yeah,
also on Balls to the Wall Reloaded as well, which I
yeah,
like that
right,
one as
right, right.
well.
Yeah.
That must have been great fun to get asked to do
That
that.
was amazing. I mean, the thing is, the album where this song was on was a
Mm.
record that I meditated when I was in school. It was Breaker and Restless and Wild. These two
Yeah.
records were like the accept records. I don't even think they exist individually anymore. I think that they put the best songs of those records on one album or something like that. But I had those two original records, and I was listening to those up and down, up and down. I really loved them. I mean, of course, among other bands and records, but those two were like really important in my younger years, and it's great. It was actually not so easy to sing it because I was always hearing Dirk Schneider's voice,
Yeah.
and it worked when I completely forgot about it. When I completely said, "Okay, fuck it, just have fun." So I made it my own thing. And the son of Udo, who was producing it, he said, "That's great. You made it your own." Yeah. And that was the solution. I was like, you can't. I mean, his way of vocalizing is so different to mine that it makes no sense to even go slightly in this direction. So I just had to make it treat it as if it's a Halloween song or something like that.
Yeah, I think it worked out beautifully. Had some other quick queries just come over the internet as well, about other projects you've been involved in, both Plas, Vendome, and Unisonic. Last we heard of were back in 2017. Are they on
That was
Infinite
16.
Hiatus?
Must be 16.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, once I got out of the whole circus and I didn't want to hear anything about it and hated everything for a number of years, when that phase was kind of fading out, I was Avantasia was the first kind of thing where I did something like that again. It was Toby actually convincing me to do it, and then later on, Serafino from Frontiers offered this Plasma project. That way I got to know Dennis a little, and I loved it. I think those records were really nice.
Mm.
Um, was like step by step. And then out of the connection with Dennis, I got to meet Costa, who was part of the management, and then we created Unisonic, and then I did the second tour with Avantasia, and Kai was there, and then Kai was saying we got to do something together, so he joined Unisonic, you know what I mean? So step by step, things moved further, and one day Kai said, I think it was 2015 or something like that, we 16 maybe. We played in Spain with Unisonic. The band was actually getting there. That was actually a bit sad. It's like it was over before the band really kind of started. And we did three amazing shows in Spain that were not huge. It was something like 2,000 people or something like that, but it was great shows. And Kai said backstage, one day we got to do something with Helloween again. And I just said, I'm open because the anger was gone and everything. And that's how it really started, that we talked about this. Bayati, Costa was in the room and he said this to Bayati, who was the manager of Helloween. And he called me up. How serious are you about this? Blah, blah, blah. But as you can see, it was a slow way to it, slow path to it. And Avantasia, Plasma Dome, Unisonic, all part of it to end up in kind of getting back to the mothership, really.
And it's ended up in a wonderful place. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for another great album. Fantastic to hear there will be a third. You've got at least the material for
it's
us.
already done. It's already written. I mean, the material is all there. And I'm sure until we really take care of it, there will be even more songs to choose
I'm,
from.
I'm sure there will. And I'll leave you with that final question. Maybe we might see you the tail end of 2026 if an offer comes in.
I'm sure. I mean, we had Australia planned in 2020.
Hmm.
The plan was to release the album in 2020, and then the plan was an earlier tour, I think around April. Of course, it didn't happen because of the pandemic, and then we moved to September. And I remember, I mean, it never happened there either, but in those days we thought after 3 months, of course, this will be over.
Yeah.
How wrong were we? But it's like it was after Japan. It was, I think, September, October, something like that. They moved the tour, and I still remember that after dates in Japan, there was one or two Australian gigs planned, and I still remember after that we were supposed to make a couple of days holidays in Hawaii
Right.
before we moved somewhere else. But unfortunately, that never happened. And at the moment, I don't know if they. But it's probably. I mean, I'm sure we will try something out, and we have to check out if Australia, makes sense in terms of. It always depends on where you can play, how expensive is it. I mean, these are not band decisions. We have our management taking care of these things, but it's always a calculation. When you play at a place with a band where you haven't been before, it should at least break even. You should at least not lose money, so it's just promotion then when you play there. And I think that's what they after. But they know what they're doing, and since we've had this in the plan anyway, in 2020, I'm sure it's going to come up again, no
Let
doubt.
us know. Otherwise, I should be knocking on your door in Germany and
Yeah.
asking you to put me up for the night so that I can
Oh yeah, sure.
see you over
You
there.
can you can always send a mail or whatever to me or to the management or whatever, and say who you are, and when you're really here, we can always get people on the guest list. It's not a problem. It's
That
never
sounds
a
great.
really.
Thank you for a wonderful album. Thank you for taking the time this morning for you.
Yeah, thank you.
This evening
That's
for
another
me.
one. I don't know where the other one is coming from. It's probably not Australia. Let me look. Huh? It doesn't even say where.
A mystery.
Yeah. Oh, maybe it's both. Maybe both are Australia. There's a lot of Australia interviews that I'm doing this week.
We love the album. I'm
That's
sure
great.
when people get the chance to buy it, I've already ordered my I can't remember which color I went for. I went for one of the two LP vinyl versions,
I
but
mean, there was always one or two people from Australia that you did interviews, but this week is pretty much all Australia. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
There's a few more metal promoters in the mix now, so it's hopefully going to happen that we're going to get you over. Uh, Otherwise,
I'd
another.
love to. I've never been there even privately or anything. I've never set foot on Australian ground.
It's an interesting place, beautiful country.
Yeah,
So
no doubt.
hopefully we'll see you. And if you come over to Perth, we'll take you to all the sites. We've got Bon Scott's final resting place down in Fremantle. Always a drop off for touring musicians. And yeah, I'll uh, I'll introduce you to a few good books.
Okay.
Take care, my friend. Have a good
Yeah,
day.
you too. And you have a good rest of the day. We talk again.
We will. Thanks, Michael. Bye.
Bye.